Phantom Pain, Part 42. That's right, fucking build out that base. Good shit. I don't care about none of this shit. Good to know, but I don't really care.
Rescue the 2 prisoners being held in a guard post to the southwest of Ngumba Industrial Zone. The targets are civilians. 1 male, 1 female. Apparently they're specialists sent out there to investigate infectious diseases. They were frequent visitors to that devil's house at Zoya. If you recover them, we'll finally be able to get first-hand accounts of what's been going on in that place.
How'd you get away, buddy? Like, good on you, but how'd you do it? That was fucking close.
Chipje, de Surisjewe. Een vreemde bewoner gezien. Het bleek ons het aandelen. Gewoon zoek.
De CP begrijpt. Alle eenheden, hou wacht en punt hier indringen. Uit.
Buddy!
Target extracted. Now extract the remaining target.
Chipje, de stelt dat toe je. Onze vermiste gevangenen. Liggen ze voor de lijn.
De CP begrijpt. En de zoektocht, zo gauw als mogelijk. Uit. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Good. Buddy!
Delta 6, pas voort. Kom in, Delta 6. Wat is de situatie? Alle eenheden, staan bij. He's coming too. Roger that.
Chipje, de Suris...
Zulu 6 was verkeerd. Kom op Zulu 6. Wat is de situatie? Alle eenheden, staan bij. Alles gespannen, dus ja. Snelle aanval in actie. Alle eenheden, alle woorden voor gevecht. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Visuele contact verloren. Keer terug naar laatste bekende positie.
He's coming too. Roger that. Doe je onderzoek. Maar wees voorzichtig. Uit. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
CP, de stelt neer. Vijand bij de zak. Zoek nou. Oor.
De CP begrijpt. Eerst op jullie hoede. Moeite laten verhullen je omringing. Uit.
What's contact, Squadron?
It won't heal on its own. You'll need to treat it with first aid. Prisoners out in that situation. Great work. Now exfiltrate. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. Mission complete, boss. Mission complete. Great work. Boss, we placed the 2 targets in quarantine. They don't show signs of anything, but we'll monitor them just the same. If they had access to the Devil's House, I doubt they were sent there by some health organization. Cypher used them, and would have eliminated them eventually. But we'll protect them here. They've agreed to that. After all, we helped them out of the country as promised. The mission's complete. But boss, they've been behind the curtains at Ngumba. They examine the patients there nearly every day. They told us the patients were being made to listen to voices on tape. But the male target added something interesting. He said he doesn't know what was on the tapes because there was no English version. Of all the voices that were shoved down those people's throats, English wasn't one of them.
Boss, staying on the battlefield that long will have a negative impact on your health. Why not head back to Mother Base for a shower once in a while?
The boss is back. Let's go refuel and load up on artillery.
We're good to go, Chief.
What's the matter?
Stop this! Now!
Shit, I don't like that shit. Fuck that.
What the fuck, you freak? Give me a hand! Hold her still! Dismissed.
Payback for how they treated her?
Doesn't explain the others. She had every chance to kill them. Tight security on her cell. This happens a second time. There won't be a third.
about Eli. I'd heard that one product of the Les Enfants Terribles project went missing in Africa. The age would be about right.
And there it
I'm not
is.
saying I think it's Eli, but I want to run a genetic test all the same. Don't worry, I'll have it done without him noticing. The test may take some time, but I'll tell you as soon as we have the results.
Boss, those animals owe you their lives. Thank you. Thanks for that, boss.
Anytime, bro. Gotta get my fucking armor up on my chopper.
Roger. This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. On station at LZ.
Fuck that target practice shit. I'm not a big fan.
Gaining altitude.
Yo, shout out to Badger. Was that Brandon Mayhew? Who'd have thought he would have made it to Mother Base? Or Outer Heaven, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Alright, what I need to do here is customize weapons, snipe. Boom. Ooh, Level 2 suppressor? Fuck yes. Alright, let's get on this shit.
Your mission objectives are to extract the child soldier's commander and their captive, the General's number 2. This child soldier platoon decided to break away from the Mbeli militants. They took the number 2 captive and have occupied an abandoned village. Start by checking that location on your map. Boss, the child soldiers will treat you as an enemy, but they're just kids. See that they don't get hurt.
Yeah, I brought my tranquilizer sniper, and now it's got twice the suppressor durability. At least I think that's what that shit means.
Be careful down there, boss.
Let's go, pup.
Reconnaissance is best conducted from high vantage points. I've marked a good spot on your map. Take a look at your iDroid.
Fucking D-Dog marks everything. He's amazing.
Yo salama swala, beta mona impila bambuta, tatekita na boma. Tangu beta songa boba into ya munduki.
Ngeke zola kabove.
There he is, the commander. Extract him. be tighter now. Watch yourself. Boss, another child soldier has entered the village. Must have been out on patrol. Looks like they had more than one patrol out. Security will be tighter now. Watch yourself. Disengage, or use your tranquilizer pistol or CQC to put him down gently.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. On station at LZ. Go!
Your buddy die, Snake. I'm pulling them out of there.
Yeah, that's easy enough.
Okay, that's the General's brother, his number 2. Get him out of there, boss. Roger.
ya General
This is Pequot! On station at LC!
Mosi, tata ya Bantaka, Amono, Elaka Mono, Mambo General Sabaka. Bantu ya Buta, ya Mbele, Etinkaka Mosi, Beto Nyoso, Kabampangi, Atampidina, Yai Kentano, ya kufutuka Diaka, Nimavye, Benga, Kekilo, Tamasa, Lambi, Lambi Kekilo,
This game's fucking great.
All that's left is to extract the commander. Alright, they're out of the hot zone. No enemy forces in pursuit. Mission complete. Departing! You gonna extract him? Mission complete. Great work. Boss, about how we report this one to the client. I'll tell them we took heavy resistance from the renegade platoon and the hostage was killed in the firefight. Also, their leader wouldn't let himself be taken alive. I doubt the client will pay us for this one, but we got a big enough reward from the General's number 2 instead. And as for the number 2, he's saying he wants to join Diamond Dogs. I guess he knows what that means for him. He said, if I'm working for you, I can be number 2 or number 200 for all I care. Boss, we have an emergency. Many of our staff are falling ill. At first it seemed like a common cold, but before we knew it, blisters started popping up on their chests and... Damn it. I'll fill you in at the ACC. Just get in the chopper.
This game's something else. Shit goes crazy.
Look closely. Those are the symptoms of the infection on Mother Base. The blisters on the body were full of tiny worms. Parasite larvae, most likely. But we couldn't find any adults. It doesn't seem to mature in the body, like a spargatum. We don't know the root of infection, or what causes symptoms to develop. Boss, do you remember seeing these symptoms before? The bodies floating around in the oil facility, the bedridden test subjects at the Devil's House. This epidemic looks just like what we've seen on our hunt for Cypher. So this is the weapon of mass destruction Cypher was working on in Africa. Boss, the situation is urgent. We need to quarantine the infected and contain the pathogen. Priority now is to prevent more casualties. But the problem is, how do we tell who's infected? During the incubation period, we have no way of knowing who's clean. You'll have to try and guess who's infected before they go symptomatic and quarantine them. That'd be easy if we just knew the route or vector of the infection. From now on, if you even suspect a staff member's infected, use your iDroid to order them into quarantine. Given the situation, the men won't submit to quarantine just because I or the medical team tell them to. But they will listen to you. Of course, it's just a temporary measure until we find a permanent solution. But at least they'd be in solitary isolation so they won't infect each other,
and we get the mental care they need. If we do nothing, we'll only lose more people. We have no choice. Boss, open your iDroid. I'll explain how to quarantine staff members suspected of infection. Go to the Mother Base menu and select Staff Management. First, take a look at the quarantine facility we've set up. We'll isolate anyone who's already symptomatic at the quarantine facility. But we have to expect that there are multiple staff who are infected, but asymptomatic. So how do we identify them? At present, we have no way to tell them apart. But there has to be something for us to go on. If you notice anything, reassign staff you suspect are infected to the quarantine facility. We'll monitor them, and then contact you if there's a change in their condition. Correctly quarantining these asymptomatic infected will reduce the number of new infections. You should continue with your missions as usual. If Cypher is behind this, going after them should help us determine the root cause of this epidemic. Also, until we identify the pathogen, we can't fire or dispatch any staff. We cannot let this thing spread. Boss, get to the bottom of this fast. We're counting on you.
I don't know how to do none of this shit.
Boss, a new job's come in. It's a hit. I'm the human trafficker who sent Shivani and the others to Nzoya Badia Bulu, where you ran into Skullface. The thing is, this guy might know something about the disease that's going around Mother Base. The symptoms are similar to the ones we saw at that factory. Start by checking the mission details on your iDroid.
Look closely. Those are the symptoms of the infection on Mother Base. The blisters on the body were full of tiny worms. Parasite larvae, most likely. But we couldn't find any adults. It doesn't seem to mature in the body, like a spargatum. We don't know the root of infection, or what causes symptoms to develop. The infection rate, along with the number of dead, are both on the rise. If we don't find the cause, and soon...
Boss, do you remember seeing these symptoms before? The bodies floating around in the oil facility? The bedridden test subjects at the Devil's House? This epidemic looks just like what we've seen on our hunt for Cypher. It could be a counterplay by Skullface.
That's insane. You mean they weaponize parasites?
Parasites as weapons. That definitely falls under the Biological Weapons Convention. But it's something the world would never see coming. And no one's ever developed a vaccine for parasites.
So this is the weapon of mass destruction Cypher was working on in Africa?
It may be. But if it is, how do the Yellow Cake and Walker Gears fit in? There must be something bigger we're not seeing. Anyway, our priority now is to prevent more casualties.
The medical team is studying the infection, but we can't treat anyone until we know the root cause. All we can do right now is halt the spread of infection.
Alright, this shit's starting to make a little more sense. Now that I listen to the fucking tapes.
Remember before, boss? When Quiet attacked one of our guys on Mother Base, stuck a knife in his mouth. He's one of the very few soldiers who've had contact with her recently. Close contact. I don't think it's a coincidence that he was among those who became symptomatic pretty early on in this epidemic. Saliva and blood spatter, an open wound, mucosal infection. Whatever is causing this got inside him then.
Miller, that is a baseless accusation.
The source of the infection is Quiet. Everyone suspects her.
We don't know that. And we've come across these symptoms before. The bodies in the water at the oil field facility. Those sick people in the beds at the Devil's House. They're identical to what we've seen while we've been after Cypher. The infection could have come from elsewhere. But at the very least, she does know something.
It's not like she's gonna talk.
No, not through words anyway. But what about her actions? Quiet held a knife to that soldier back then, before he became symptomatic. There must have been a reason for that.
A reason for shoving a knife down the throat of one of our men.
What if she's capable of identifying who's infected? What if she was trying to stop the infection but couldn't communicate that to us? The answer to that, the source of the infection, might be in the mouths of the infected.
You think there's some kind of clue in their mouths?
I don't know. But maybe there's something about the mouths of those who've become symptomatic, something in common.
Something their mouths have in common. Forget it. We can't trust her. Even if she can spot the infected, I don't want her help.
God damn, Miller.
But this is something to go on.
Can't you see it's just like I said? Bringing her here was a big mistake. Quiet is gonna be the end of us.
Stand down. You've got zero proof. Try to keep an open mind on this, boss. There has to be a way to identify who's infected.
The target is a PF logistics officer who works as a human trafficker on the side. The client wants him dead. He's currently on the run somewhere on the savannah with bodyguards. Unfortunately, we don't know what route they're taking. All we have to go on is a coded transmission sent by the PF at the Ducati abandoned village. It appears to be workup of the target's security plans, but to decipher it, we'll need an intel file with the encryption key. This key should be at the comms facility at the Ducati abandoned village. Check your iDroid to see what the target looks like, as well as the location of the village. Find a route, find a man.
Wadi abandoned village. That's where the enemy PF's coded transmission came from. There's got to be a transmitter there somewhere. It could have the intel file containing the encryption key. Look for an antenna.
Usadiso.
Delta 4. Zoek op Waardmoeder. Bespreek laatste punt van contact. Oor.
Dat is CFD, begrijp. Wees op je uitkijkt voor die enige beweging. Uit.
That prisoner you extracted was a civilian abducted by the target. He says the trafficker is trying to make contact with a human rights NGO. He hopes that by handing over his list of buyers, they'll guarantee his safety. I don't get it. Why an NGO? Why lend to someone else for help?
Ons het die fans aangetrek, maar contact verloren na het kruisvuur. Vijand kan nog iewers naby wegkruip. Adresseer waakzaamheid. Hoor. Alles is verder, dus zit hier. Vijandige aanval in actie. Alle eenheden, onwoord voor gevecht.
You gonna extract him?
Alright, gonna have to wrap this up shortly. This might be a good spot. For real though. That's a great spot.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Till next time.